Before the arenas, before the awards.
And the ACM for male vocalist is...
This is Before Nashville.
Hey, you're back with Before Nashville. Thanks for coming and hanging out with me, as well as my guest tonight, which just so happens to be a young lady who is in Nashville, has a gold record, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later on. I think you're the first one I've had that's got a gold record, but we'll talk about that a little bit later on. It's Carly Rogers. Carly, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
Well, thanks for being on. Now, part of the back story about why we're doing this right now is Freedom Fest 2020 or Freedom Jam 2020. That is coming up in St. Peter's on August 29th. Carly is going to be one of the artists performing there that night. So you definitely want to get your tickets. Once you hear more about her, you want to get your tickets and be at Freedom Fest or Freedom Jam. I don't know why I keep calling it Fest.
It's
Freedom
festival
Jam.
Season. You're missing them.
I have to think about Toast, Freedom Jam.
Yes.
So, and it all goes to a portion of the proceeds are going to help Operation Triage, which is an organization that helps veterans with remodeling their homes and helping them to kind of be able to be more mobile in their own homes, or even just, up to building a home if that's what they need. And it's not just veterans, it's first responders, it's also active military. So, Carly, let's just jump into this. How did you come about being a part of country music and knowing that that's what you wanted to do? Where's your love for country music come from?
Well, I always grew up listening to different cassette tapes and CDs from years past, all the way from George Jones and Hank and Alan and George and all those guys growing up. Jody Messina was always on the radio. Sheryl Crow was always on the radio. And she's not necessarily country, but I keep her right in there because she's a huge influence for me. And just always been, I still have all those old cassette tapes that my dad used to listen to and that I grew up listening to. But my grandmother told me when I was in high school, if I wanted to be a country music singer, I had to move to Nashville and start working at Tootsie's. So that's what I did. I got my butt to Nashville and started working at Tootsie's.
How old were you when you first started singing?
I was trying to sing before I could even make words, but my first live performance in front of a crowd with a microphone was I was 4 or 5, singing the national anthem at a BMX race. I used to race BMX as a kid. So I got the audacity to ask the track director in our hometown if I could sing the anthem. We just learned it in the 1st grade. And and he let me. I sang it right through my helmet hole and everything, and got back down and ended up being ready on the hill for my moto. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Have you had any formal music training throughout your life?
Yeah, so I'm super fortunate. My parents were more than willing and happy to have me in classical singing lessons. So I learned how to sing opera music and play classical piano growing up. From the time I think I was 7, they started me in lessons until I was about 13, probably 12 or 13. And then from there, I just kind of started winging it. I was kind of sick of opera and wanted to switch into some rock and roll and some country. So.
All right. Well, cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. So you talked about a little bit your grandmother telling you if you want to have a career in country music, you got to go to Nashville. And when did you feel like, or at what age were you when you said, well, this is what I want to do. I really want to do this.
I never really had, there was one point when I was little that I wanted to do animal rescue.
Mm-hmm.
But I never had any other inkling than to sing and to write music. And I know that sounds cliche and everybody has that story, but it really was. It was just from day one. As soon as my parents were, obviously actively supporting me and I was performing and taking lessons, that was really all I was really pushing for. I played sports and stuff and I loved animals, but I always wanted to sing. And then Nana said that I think when I was about 13 or 14. And when I finally applied to colleges at 15 and 16, I only applied to one, which was Belmont. And I got in. So Nashville was always the goal.
And that was at what age?
Well, I was applying for colleges in 15 and 16 as a junior in high school.
Okay. I was like, you went to college at 15? It's like Doogie
17.
Howser all over again.
No, 17. I moved down to Nashville.
So, who are your influences musically?
I really look up to Sheryl Crow stylistically with her voice, her performance. I try to fit into that kind of rock sound, but
Mhm.
I don't do the best job at it just because I do listen to a lot of country, and I am still truly inspired by Patsy Cline and Lori. Jody Messina and Trisha Yearwood have always been two more classic or more contemporary artists that have really sparked my interest, and Miranda Lambert as well. Not
Mhm.
so much the man-hating Miranda Lambert, but uh, yeah, I'm not much of a man hater. But the rock and roll country, outlaw female country, I really try to emulate in my style because that's the way I live my life. So
All right. So, kind of the sass.
yeah, the
Yeah,
sassy ones for
I
sure.
got you. Now, you mentioned writing. You write your own songs?
I do. Usually with the help of some friends. We usually co-write. But I have Just Another, my latest single, was written entirely by myself.
Mhm.
Need You, one of my singles from last year, was also written just by me. So I go back and forth between releasing songs that I've written by myself if I feel they're up to par, or if I need help, then I ask a couple friends to come in and help me edit.
Okay. So, with you writing your own songs, who are some of your writing influences?
Well, I mean, I've always listened to a lot of Keith Whitley. I really like Keith's writing style, how it's very conversational. And I had a friend tell me, his name's Jimmy Seitz.
Mhm.
Jimmy told me a long time ago that if I wanted to write, it had to be a conversation. If I wanted to write country music, it had to be a conversation and how to explain something. So that's another reason why I try to write the way I do. But as far as like writing styles, I never really pinpoint one particular artist or songwriter. I didn't even know artists didn't write their own music until I moved here. So yeah.
Okay. Now going to Belmont and writing, did that kind of give you a little bit of a, I don't want to say an edge, but a little bit of insight on the process and all that? Did you take classes at Belmont on the writing and stuff?
I didn't. I was friends with a lot of songwriting majors, thankfully, but I never partook in any songwriting courses per se. I took some commercial music courses, but that was more for vocals. But I just never felt that a class could teach me how to write the way I felt. And so it was more so just the repetition of writing every day with different people that got me to where I'm at. But Belmont definitely taught me a lot of things about the industry as far as the legal side of things, how, there's a whole coin and it's split one half with the artist, one half with the songwriter, and then the songwriter's half is split in two between the publisher and the songwriter, and then the artist half is split between the label and the artist, and how it gets broken
Right.
down. So I definitely learned all of those logistics and the legalities
Very
from Belmont.
confusing.
It does. It gets well, and once you lay it all out, it's kind of like algebra. I feel like you got to do the first line, and then you got to do the second line, and then you got to do the third line, and it gets down to the nitty gritty or long division. You just got to take
Right.
it one number at a time.
Right. Now, if there was one song that you could say, man, I wish I'd have written that song, what would that song have been? Or what
I
would
already,
that song be?
yeah. There's a few that I've heard, and I'm just like, wow, I wish I wrote this. There's a song right now in Nashville, and I should be made fun of for not knowing the writer's name on it, but I just heard him the other day, and it's just escaping me. There's a song called "He's My Boy," and it's
Mhm.
a stepdad's perspective of raising another child who's not his, that I'm absolutely in love with. And then, of course, the "If You're Reading This" by Tim McGraw. I wish I would
Right.
have wrote that, but I don't know if I could have made it through it. Um, that one's a tough one for me, but I love it so much. So those two songs are really the two that come to mind.
Of course, Tim is a great writer, so that's one of the things. I mean, and he writes very few of his songs. He writes solo. He writes with other people, but
Hmm.
still very good. Um, what? Tell me the top 10 songs that are on your playlist right now.
Am I able to swipe out of the Zoom and go to my Spotify and look? No, I'm just kidding. Um, Gosh, there's a few, and I want to shine light on not as like not so much the mainstream artists, but artists that I know well and write with and work with who
Right.
are really doing great things right now. In no particular order by any means.
Hmm.
My friend Ryan Upchurch just released a song called Vinyl, and it's great. My friend Megan Patrick has a new song called Prayin' Right that came out on one of her most recent EPs,
Right.
which is incredible. Another Megan Patrick song that I love is Country Music Made Me Do It, and that's an incredible song. My buddies Hunter Jordan and Ethan Willis have a song called Saturdays Are for the Boys. That's a great tune. And I know I'm going to get in so much trouble for forgetting somebody. My friend Allie Colleen has a brand new song called Ain't the Only Hell My Mama Raised, and it's an incredible tune. You should check
Very
that
good
out. It's
song.
actually, yeah.
Very good
Um,
song.
and she's got a few others too that I love, but I'm just going to keep her that one on that one because there's so many others. I don't know how many I've listed yet. 1, 2, 3. I think I've done 6. So my friend Ryan Nelson has a song that's called She Loves the Way My Heart Breaks, and it's an incredible tune. What else? I like the song My Kind of Livin' by Hardy and Hunter Phelps and Jameson Rogers.
Hmm.
That's a great song. Another Jameson Rogers song that I love is it's called Missin' One.
Right.
My friend Ashlyn Kraft has another tune that she just came out with, and it's not Trainwreck, it's the one that just came after it. But Trainwreck is also awesome, and now the title is escaping me. I just had it, but I think that might have been 10. So Ashlyn
Okay.
Kraft is another powerhouse female that should be acknowledged too.
Right. A lot of great. I mean, they're not the household name artist,
Not
and that's
yet.
one thing I like. Right. Not yet.
Yeah.
We know Allie. Love her to death. She's such a sweetheart. Um, and a couple of the others that you mentioned, Jameson. He's a great guy. Um,
Yeah. I was supposed to open for him at the Georgia Theater this year, and because of the virus, everything got shut
oh,
down. But the Georgia Theater actually had me booked as his opener, which was a dream come true, playing at
right.
that venue and being booked independently there, not through a booking agency. And so I'm super frustrated about that. I'm so upset about it, but
Well, it'll, and unfortunately, yeah, 2020 has, for lack of a better word, sucked. It's just ruined live music, but
yeah,
yeah, we'll come out of this and we'll come out stronger and better on the other side is the way I look at it. So,
that's for sure.
you know, um, now you've got some new stuff out. We were just talking. You just released a song not long ago that's called "Just Another,"
Correct.
and you said you're going to be releasing a new one tomorrow night at
It's
midnight or
tonight.
tonight? Tonight at
Tonight,
midnight.
well, actually, 11 p.m. Central Time. I've learned that with releases, they all operate on Eastern Time, New York
Okay.
City. So it will actually Central Time will be out at 11 on iTunes, Spotify, all that good stuff.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah, so I'm excited. This one's gonna be cool. I'm finally working with a distribution company to
okay.
instead of doing it myself,
Right.
called 1RPM, and they're helping with the Spotify playlisting and stuff like that. I'm not really putting any extra money into it or anything like that, luckily,
Right.
but working with them it allows me to have those other connections to where I can get those Spotify playlisting and stuff like that. So it's not
Right.
extra money going in or anything like that from anybody. It's just the extra connection, which is cool.
But
So
the way you said that, I mean, my passion for the podcast is independent artists,
mhm.
artists that are not signed to a label. They're doing everything they can. They're doing it on their own, or they may have somebody like a distribution company or somebody like that. But the way the the positioning of the podcast is introducing the country stars of tomorrow to the country fans of today.
Yeah, I love that. What a great slogan.
And it's because that's our passion. I mean, with Allie and we were with her last summer at a show, and had met her a couple of years earlier. and then talked to her 2 or 3 times since then. And some of the folks that are going to be at Freedom Jam, Matt Wynn. Matt is
Yeah.
a good
Matt's one
friend
of
of
my
mine.
favorite writers. I'm such an idiot. I should have put Dangerous by Matt Wynn in that group of songs too, and Dust. Matt's one of my
Yes.
favorites. He's written a lot of music with me.
He's amazing. Dangerous is one of those that I could listen to all day long. But a lot of the writers, like, the artists like that, not all of them are writers, but quite honestly, probably 90% of them write their own music,
Yeah.
which is cool. Now, with Just Another, give me a little bit of the background on the song. Where did the song come from?
Super simple. I suck at dating. And I finally came to grips with, you know what, maybe it's something I'm doing, and I have to not, because I've always, like I said before we jumped on the interview, I don't condone man hating. I
Right.
feel like women often, and I'm a woman, so I feel like I can say this, but I feel as if women most times don't take a look in the mirror and say, maybe I'm annoying, or maybe I shouldn't have nagged about that, or maybe he had a long day at work and just wants to go home, and so little things like that. But I had been talking to somebody, and I felt like it was kind of more one-sided, and I was trying so hard, and I'm like, oh wait, I'm annoying this person. Like, it's, you know what, and it's just another one. Like, I'll get the next one, but lesson learned. So and I like to think of it, I'm a big sports fanatic, so it's like, on to the next game, on to the next team. You didn't win this one, but next one. And I've got one now who's fantastic. I'm actually at his grandmother's house right now. So,
Oh.
yeah.
Sorry, I
But
didn't mean to infringe on the personal time there.
no, absolutely not. No, I budgeted this in. This is fun. And so she's out listening. But yeah, it's that's really the backstory of it, is just me taking responsibility and not necessarily blaming anybody, but taking responsibility and saying, well, maybe it's my fault.
Right. Well, and we all could do that more, quite honestly. Now with Just Another, this is another thing in the podcast. I like to share the music with the people that are listening to it.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited about sharing this one. And this is it's Carly Rogers. The song is Just Another. You can get it on all the streaming platforms, iTunes, Spotify, Google Music, all that stuff. So by all means, check it out here first, and then go listen to some of our other stuff there, because we want to introduce you to it. So here's Carly Rogers with Just Another.
Man, I don't know where I go wrong, or to think I know by now. But I keep losing, singing blues, wishing one would stick around. I swear I'd tell ya if I could, but I just can't figure it out. Hey, might as well not kick myself. I've been known to make do without just another one. Just another
right. That was Carly Rogers with Just Another, and a great song. I
Thank you.
I spent some time listening to it earlier and love hearing the song. It's amazing, really good. I'm going to ask this, and it may not fit in exactly with you because I'm not sure. I'll just ask.
That's
Um,
okay.
if you
I'll
put
tell you
your
if I can't
music,
answer it. I'm sorry.
if you put your music, this is the way I look at country music. Country music is widespread.
Hmm.
There's country rock, there's bro country, there's bra country, there's
Country rap. There's
country rap, hick hop, whatever you want to call it. There's so many different things. There's a lot of the different types of music out there. And if you had to classify what you do in one of those subgenres, where would you put it?
man, it depends on the song because you take excuse and say something slick and excuse and say something slick, you throw them in the pop country category. You take Two Different Places and Need You and you put them in the more classic country. You take Just Another and Drunk Side and Love Last Night, they're right there in that rock and roll country. And then
Right.
Somewhere Else is going to be in that bro country. I consider Somewhere Else to be my Luke Bryan 2010 smash summer hit. It kind of fits right in there with Luke Bryan's sound back in 2010, 2011. And that's right there in that bro country. So,
Right.
and people preach and preach about having a brand and a specific sound. And my thing is that I listen to all these types of music. I listen to Childers. I listen to, George Jones. I listen to Whitley. I listen to Strait. I listen to Luke Bryan. I listen to Hardy and Morgan Wallen and Luke Combs. I listen to
Right.
Upchurch. Like there's all these different types of music, and not to exclude all the women out of that, but
Right.
there's all these different classifications of country music, and I listen to all of them, and I'm independent, so I can kind of fool around with that if I want to. Maybe that's why a record label hasn't approached me yet with a deal, because I haven't
Right.
figured out my sound. But
Well, and there's so many. I mean, let's look at Miranda for a minute. She's got some that are all over as well. She's got the ballads that are just the love, the country love song,
oh yeah,
and the ones that she just opens her heart up on, and then she's got the ones where she's just the female badass, Gunpowder and Lead, and there was
Crazy
another one.
Ex-Girlfriend.
Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. Yes.
Oh
Oh my
yeah.
gosh. The ones like that. And then she's got some that are just kind of in the classic country feel,
Mhm.
and then she's just got the straight ahead country kind of rocking out. I'm a huge Miranda fan, by the way.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, me too.
I've actually said if the restraining order is lifted, I will see her again in concert.
That's a terrible joke, but that's so
It
funny.
is. It is a joke. And there is no
That's so
restraint.
funny.
But now with what we just said, here's something new I'm trying to do with the show. And this is a brand new thing, and it's called I Heard a Rumor.
Okay.
All
I'm
right.
nervous.
So we're going to get to it. I heard a rumor about you recording a song by a classic country artist.
Mm-hmm.
And the big part of that was you were given the okay by his family to do that.
Correct. I have not been given the okay by Music Row yet.
Okay.
And that's the only thing that we're waiting on. It was supposed to come out with Somewhere Else, because we talk about this artist in the song.
Okay.
So it was supposed to be like a duo or a 2-for-1 kind of thing, but
Right.
Music Row hasn't given me the permission yet, even though the family has. So to avoid further legal battle, I haven't released it yet. But
Okay.
yeah, Jesse Keith and Miss Lori Morgan of the Keith Whitley family, they gave me permission to re-record, and actually they more so encouraged. It started off as like, hey, I just heard this acoustic video of you singing my dad's song, and holy crap, you should record that. And I said, are you sure? And he said, yep. And I said, all right, I'm going to do it. And then I sent it. And originally Jesse was going to sing on it with me, because Jesse also has his own music and also performs and writes. And
Right.
We just unfortunately couldn't line up dates with the virus and stuff to get him out of Hendersonville to get down to Antioch where we were recording. But But yeah, it's an absolute honor to have that connection. That was a Tootsie's bridge that was built. And Jesse's always been like a big older brother to me. So I could call
Right.
Jesse if I needed anything. So, and he also had passed the song along to Miss Lori, and she also gave her blessing, which was just over the moon, obviously. So I still kind of get goosebumps thinking about it, growing up listening to Miss Lori and Mr. Keats. So I just, it gives me goosebumps. I got them right now.
Right. Now, can you share the title of the song? Because we didn't do that. Can you
Oh,
share
I'm so
that, or do you
sorry.
need to
Yeah,
wait?
I
No,
just
that's
got
okay. I just
suspended.
didn't know if it was a legal thing or what. I didn't want to
No,
get you.
I'm just silly goose. Don't close your eyes.
Awesome. And
Yeah.
that's one of my favorites by him.
So hopefully it'll be the next one out if we're able to work around the legalities. But I know another mainstream artist had just recorded it and put it out. So I don't know if they have some sort of deal with the
Right.
record label. And unfortunately, there's other hands that are involved other than just Keith. Keith doesn't
Right.
have the final say, and his family doesn't have the final say. There's other people that have to get paid based off of royalties and all that. So
Right.
hopefully this other artist that currently has the song license is willing to share it, but I'm thinking that might be the reason why I haven't heard back.
Oh, well, we'll keep positive thoughts on that and hope that everything works out, because I can't wait to hear you do that song.
Well, I'm going to tell you what, and I thought the rumor was going to be much juicier, so I'm going to make it juicier, but I think we do it better than he does. So I think we did it a lot more justice than he did.
But I know I have now. You have a version of it on YouTube, a video or something on YouTube of it, or
I
did
had
Jesse
posted,
just hear it?
yeah, I had posted 2 separate clips, one of a verse and one of a chorus on my Instagram back to back.
Okay.
I haven't put them on YouTube. I probably should, but I feel weird putting a 1.5-minute clip on YouTube and not the full
Right.
song. And then of course, if the record label does have that license exclusively, then they can come in and have it pulled down anyway, and I get sued. So
Right.
I just haven't put many cover videos up on YouTube due to the influx of attention that I've been getting the last couple of years. So I'm
Right.
trying to avoid any legal battles.
Hey, attention is good sometimes.
I've always been a big proponent for any attention is good attention, but I pick and choose my battles wisely with that one.
Right.
I don't
Right.
think that bad publicity is necessarily the worst thing in the world, but I don't want it,
Well, yeah, they say some bad publicity is not always bad, but
Yeah.
when it comes down to it, yeah, it can hurt you a lot. So you played in Tootsie's. You've spent time apparently down on Broadway. What is your favorite venue to play?
Broadway?
Anywhere. It could be Broadway. It could be anywhere else.
That's a tough one. There's a lot, I've had to, and not necessarily by choice, but by force, I've just had to basically just grind the gears and ride the roads and play where any and every dive bar that would ever have me, whether it was $50, 7 hours away out
Right.
in the Ozarks or Virginia or Florida. And there was one place that my parents would frequent all the time. It just closed down this year, and I'm super sad about it. And it's a bar called Seaside
Okay.
Inn. And it was right on the Gulf of Mexico in Port Richey, Florida. My parents would go there all the time, but they were really one of the first places that would let me set up my sound system, come in, play for 4 hours. I had no business. Like, nobody would pay attention, and they usually would tell me to turn it down. Not the bar owners, but the people in the bar would be like, "Can you turn it down? Like, we got the radio playing in this room." And but they'd pay me to play, and some people would come in and listen, and it was you could smoke in there, and the floors were kind of falling in a little bit here and there, and the dock was kind of falling in into the Gulf, and just was one of those spots, man. Carpet floor.
Right.
Bartenders had been there forever, and it just was one of those places that will always have such a special place in my heart.
Right.
So big old shout out to Donnie and Chrissy up in Michigan for that. But so that's really one that holds heavy in my heart. As far as other venues that I've been fortunate and blessed to be able to play. The Cotton Eye Joe out in Knoxville is always an incredible time. It's a bigger venue. It's a 2,000, I think, capacity venue, and I've played there multiple times now with Upchurch, with Mitchell Tenpenny, Taylor Ray Holbrook, and Hayden Kaufman this September. And it's always incredible. Chuck is just awesome. And he'll call me in a bind when the mainstream music row booking agencies forget to book an opener. So there were times where they had artist openers in there, and Chuck would call me and say, "Hey, I know you're 2 hours away, but can you be here by 7 o'clock tonight and open?" Well, sure, I'll be there. So, and
Hop in
that's
the car and
2,000
go.
people. Yeah. So, and that's the blessing of being, obviously independent, but it really pays off doing the grinding of the gears and the road running and the making those connections. I just used to stop into Cotton Eye Joe whenever I was driving through Knoxville to play a show in Carolina or Virginia or going up north to the Northeast, because you have to drive through Knoxville. And I just stop in, grab a bite, and have a beer. It's right 2 hours out of Nashville, and would be a nice resting spot to stretch my legs and all that. And met the owner and made the connection. So, but that's a lot of the times what most people aren't doing anymore is they're not running the roads and grinding the gears, and maybe I overworked myself, but it's working.
Right.
So
Well,
yeah,
and
those are two.
that's a good lesson for a lot of artists that are coming up, maybe just starting out, and they're going, man, I don't know how to do this. And there's a perfect lesson for them, relationships, running the roads. And those are two of the main things. You gotta get yourself out there.
Well, and my parents have always hailed me for this, and they've always given me credit for this, and they don't know where it came from, because neither one of them are really this way. And my friends kind of admire me for it too, but I just don't have a problem striking a conversation with a stranger. So I have no problem walking up to a random person at the bar who's working and saying, "Hey, who's the owner here? Who books the music? I want to meet them," and walking in and having a conversation. A lot of people don't enjoy that as much. I enjoy that. That's what I get. I feed off of that. And a lot of people don't. They're not comfortable with it. A lot of times most people aren't even comfortable making a phone call these days. So the conversation and the interaction is really important. And I usually don't stir up or cause too much trouble. So I'm fairly easy to get along with. And if I'm not, it's usually my fault, and I'm willing to own up to it. But I very rarely come across anybody that has an issue immediately and doesn't want me to work with them. So, and not to toot my own horn, it's one thing that's super important to be able to do is just have a conversation with a stranger.
Right. Oh yeah, definitely.
Like what we're doing right now.
Right. Yeah. And in this business, I mean, in country music, and again, starting out, being that independent artist, you've got to, I mean, as I hate to say it, you got to fight for number one,
Yeah.
And,
well, and
if you
people are
don't look
always
out for
going to
number one, then
absolutely. And people are always going to gravitate toward people who are investing in themselves, I think.
right.
I've invested a lot of time and energy and money, of course, but a lot into myself. And I've gotten to a point where sometimes I do kind of toot my own horn a little bit, because I've built that for myself. And so, but I also reflect that on my other friends. Like I did the 10 songs of all friends of mine. And I do try to boost my other friends too, because they work and bust their butts as much as I do. And so that's important to recognize. So, and they do the same for me, which is awesome. We all champion for each other, which is incredible.
That's awesome, because that's another thing about Nashville. And I've said this so many times, country music is such a different group than any other genre, looking at pop and rock and all that. The country music family is exactly what I call it. We're all so close. I mean, from radio all the way down, we're all so close. And it's just amazing. I mean, I've met so many artists over the years, and you go back and look at things. I mean, I proposed to my wife at a Chris Young concert, and Chris Young knew it, and he was going to try to come to the wedding, but he had a show, and so it was like,
and CY's one of those dudes, man. If you're a tourist in Nashville, it's probably best not to approach him at a bar while he's hanging out with his friends, but he has been one of the coolest. The first time I met Chris was kind of one of those interactions where and Chris has this reputation, and he knows it. But
Right.
some days and like anybody, I get it. I wouldn't want to be bothered all the time. But I came up to talk to somebody else in the friend
Right.
group, and he took it immediately like I was just some blonde bimbo fangirl or whatever. And I was young. I was probably 18 or 19. Shouldn't have been in the bar. And that's neither here nor there. And was talking to somebody else I knew, and he kind of took it personal. And then I just pretended I had no clue who he was. And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, like my fault." I go, "Yeah, it's all good. But next time, now that I know your name, I'll come up and say hi to you." And of course, now we've all got mutual friends, but he
Right.
really is. He'll do anything for anybody that needs it. And he'll give the shirt off his back. He'll make the phone call he needs to. He'll donate to the GoFundMe. He'll tip the band. Like he'll go into
Right.
bars and just tip the band playing or the songwriters playing, and not just like $5. Like he'll throw in a couple $100 sometimes. And that
Right.
is it's something that you don't see. And I'm not even going to try to throw shade on other people, but it's just something that there's a lost appreciation between the generations, I think,
Oh yeah.
sometimes because of how murky the music industry has gotten, especially Music Girl. But there is this huge family. There's big brothers looking out for little kid or little siblings and big sisters and stuff like that. So, Megan Patrick's been that way for me. She's been my big famous country singer sister, so
Right.
she's been awesome. And Allie's been a great sister coming all the way up through. So it's a big family.
Oh, it is. It is. Like I said, I mean, we've been lucky to meet several, and it it's different when you come in there as a radio DJ because they know that you're I've been a programmer for years, and they're like, you're the guy that can pull their song. It's not going to hurt them. I
Mhm.
mean, don't get me wrong. I don't have enough clout to say I'm not going to play a song and it's going to hurt them or anything.
But still, you're also not, you don't need them.
Right. Right. And so it's just, but everybody that we've talked to, I'm like you. I don't know a stranger. I mean, I don't have a problem walking up to, Kenny Chesney, and talking to him about something, personal with, I mean, not like that personal with my
Yeah.
wife and I, but, something you would normally share.
Yeah.
But it was a big deal for her. And so, and it turned out to be a great night because of that.
Yeah.
Now with some of the influences that you've mentioned earlier, let me ask you this. You are at dinner and it is with an artist, living or past,
Oh,
okay?
goodness. I hate this question. Who
You've
would it
heard it
be?
before. Who would it be and what would your conversation be about?
Man, I'm just the worst with these hypothetical questions. Um, See, I'm better with the question of like, who have you met that's given you like the most inspiration or something like that. But it's
Right.
there's just so many. I mean, I could think of 5 or 6 just right off the top of my head and all the whole conversation, how I would want it to play out. But, man, I don't know. I kind of like to have a beer with Keith Whitley and ask him what he thinks of the song that I recorded of his. That'd
There
be
you
kind
go.
of cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's so many, and a huge list of those people that I named earlier. Sheryl Crow would be awesome to talk to. I think she'd
Mhm.
be cool to hang out with. But yeah, it'd be cool to ask Keith Whitley what he thought of my cover of his song.
Can I share something with you about Sheryl Crow?
Absolutely.
I was born and lived in the same town with her until I was 2 years old.
Oh wow, that's incredible.
She's from Southeast Missouri,
Yeah.
from Kennet, Missouri, and we have a very close friend who took her to junior prom.
Oh wow, look at
So
that. See.
so that's kind of fun. I've met her one time,
Hmm.
and she was a swimmer and opened an aquatic center back in Kennet years ago, and I went down and met her. I was in radio then. I was in a different format then, and went down and met her and had pictures with her and stuff. So that was kind of cool.
Oh well, how
Um,
cool. Yeah, I finally got to see her in concert this past year at the Ryman, and
uh,
it was electric. There was no other way to describe it, just electric.
mhm. any show at the Ryman to me is electric. I mean, I love going there and watching artists. It is just,
Yeah.
it's not that I don't like the new Opry House, but it just doesn't have the same feel.
Mm-mm.
It's
Nope.
just, it's not, to me, it's not the Grand Ole Opry unless
Doesn't
it's
have the
at the
same
Ryman.
smell. I
You're
think that's
right.
no, and I say that and it's silly,
Right.
but I really truly think that there's just you can smell like the history in it, and
Oh, yeah.
whether that's the must or the popcorn or whatever it is, or the wood in the church pews. I don't know,
Right.
but it is just it's so satisfying. And for
Yeah.
anybody, whether it's an R&B artist, a rap artist, a rock and roll artist, a country artist, just a symphony, whatever the case is, just sitting in those seats and watching from that stage is just absolutely incredible.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Um, we mentioned earlier, and we didn't get into it yet. You have a gold record. Now, you are the first artist I spoke with that has gotten a gold record.
Yeah.
So I feel very honored to talk to you tonight. Not just
Thank
because
you.
of that. Don't get me wrong. And this was with Upchurch. I'm familiar with
Yes, and
him.
all the credit goes to him for that. He's got the fan base that brought it there, but yeah,
Right.
it's super awesome. Just and I'm incredibly fortunate. It just was a perfect series of events that got us in the room.
Right.
Um, and he's great. He actually just got engaged today,
I
so that's
saw
a
that
super
on
exciting.
Instagram. Yeah.
Actually, I made a comment sarcastically on the post and said, "Hey, if you guys need a cover band, let me know." And somebody, like, there was one person that jumped in, and this is just a testament to Ryan's fans, but somebody jumped in who follows me and was like, or like, "Ha, I think he can afford the real thing, but I appreciate your hustle," or something like that, like something snide. You're
Oh
just
my
thinking like
gosh.
he doesn't need you, he can get the real thing. And it
Right.
was like 25 comments after that of attacking this guy, being like, "Are you an idiot? You don't know who she is? How do you know Ryan? Blah, blah, blah." And I had to be like, guys, like, leave this guy alone. It was an honest, like, he just was being
He
a
spoke his
keyboard warrior.
right. He spoke his mind, and everybody's entitled to their opinion.
I thought it
That's
was
the
so
way I
funny
look
though,
at it.
because I was like, I commented back. I said, "It's funny because you don't get it." And then he said, "Well, I appreciate your hustle." And I said, "It's even funnier because you still don't get it." But he followed me, so um, but yeah, super funny, And
But
Ryan's just fantastic.
yeah, that the song that was for, that was "Hey Boy, Hey Girl," right?
No,
No.
ooh, might have.
Oh, oh,
Oh,
didn't do my homework, did I?
yeah. No, that was with somebody else who shall not be mentioned.
Oh,
We don't mention that other artist very much in this camp anymore,
okay.
unfortunately. But no, it was for Cowboy.
Okay, Cowboy. I should have known it was for Cowboy. I don't know why.
That's okay. No, well,
Oh,
the video of me performing "Hey Boy, Hey Girl," which is an incredible song,
yes.
with Ryan at the Cotton Eye Joe, did go pretty viral.
Yeah.
And so it's an honest mistake. I was just kind of messing with you, but yeah, I
Well,
didn't write that one, and I just performed it live that one time.
I will say this, you nailed it. You did a great
Oh,
job on the song.
thanks.
Um,
I have my cheat sheet. I hadn't learned it.
and also, Cowboy, you do a good one on that. I mean, you do a great job on that. Your voice is just killer. I mean, I
Thank you.
love to hear you sing.
Thank
Um,
you.
and I've followed Ryan for a couple of years now. It took me a while to get into him,
Yeah.
or to find out about him, not to really get into him, because I like kind of the country rap stuff that he does, and I know this is everybody's mainstream. They're, Colt Ford, the Lax,
Yeah.
Moonshine Bandits, those guys, Demon Jones. Um, I love that kind of stuff. And then Upchurch, that's all I can call him is Upchurch. I can't call him Ryan because I've never met him. I don't feel
Oh,
like
you
that's
can call him
proper.
Ryan. He goes
Uh,
by Ryan up church now. It's fine.
right, yeah. But he's just um, he's been one of those guys that I've really got. I don't know. It's just kind of like, man, this dude he's good. He's really good because he's not just he can do more than rap. That's what I like. He can sing. And the one thing that made it for me was seeing some of his live videos when he would sing, because then there's not somebody behind a board in the studio manipulating stuff and making him sound good.
Well, and
Dude's got a
Thomas Toner
voice.
is incredible, and Bandplay did a lot of work too, and made some incredible beats, some of the
Mhm.
older stuff, but Thomas Toner is incredible behind a board. But no, Ryan authentically does have
Yeah,
a killer voice. And to add to his list of accolades, he's a genius, man. He's so smart, and that's what coming from the School of Hard Knocks will do.
right,
But he only really started this music thing when he was 22. He never graduated high school. He's pretty open about that, and just went to school at the School of Hard Knocks and was busy taking care of his single mother and 4 brothers. So,
right,
or 3 brothers, I'm sorry. So, he figured it out, and he figured out how to keep people. And that's the thing, is he's got more followers on social media than most of the mainstream country artists ever have had
right,
collectively. So,
right,
and a lot of the reason why some of these mainstream artists, here's a rumor, why some of these mainstream artists have so many followers is because the record label spends X amount of dollars to Instagram and says, hey, pump fake accounts or pump
right,
followers onto this page. And that's real. Like, that's not like
right.
he said, she said. That is real. And the same
That's
thing
the
happens with Spotify. Like, here, pay Spotify X amount of dollars to make these streams go up a little bit. And it is what it is, and that's the way the cookie crumbles. But Ryan just organically has that. Like, he doesn't have radio to help him, really, because he
right,
curses in all of his songs, and except for ours, he doesn't curse in ours. I made that an explicit rule in the contract. But yeah, he curses in a lot of his music, and he just doesn't really suit the radio model. So
right,
therefore, it's all organic fan base, which is just, it's, for lack of, there's no other way to describe it other than unbelievable.
right.
And I know that it's unbelievable because I still get questions about it from people on Music Row saying, well, how does he doesn't have that many streams and he's not even playlisted. I'm like, yeah, go on his artists for Spotify page and it's all organic, like, or artists
Yeah,
for Spotify app or whatever, and look at his radio streams. He's not getting, and even independent radio stations aren't able to
yeah,
play him. So
yeah.
it's definitely one thing that definitely confuses Music Row, and they're trying to emulate it as best they can, doing these hip hop collaborations with Chingy and
Right.
whoever else they got in there.
Right. They've
Um,
used, I mean, and that's gone back for quite a while, Nelly, Ludacris, um, like you said, Chingy, there's a couple more that I've heard of.
well, and I'll say the Nelly Tim McGraw collaboration back in 2004, 2002, whatever year it was,
Right.
golden,
Yeah.
perfect. It was awesome. There was no better way to do it, I don't think. But and what they're trying to do, I feel, on Music Row now is to emulate the country rap, not the crossover or the
Right.
collaboration, but let's make a country rap song and let's pretend to make a line dance to it that makes no sense. And
Right.
let's just pull up a rapper that hasn't put out music in 10 years. And let's also, this is my other gripe with that specifically, was they made Chingy look so bad in that music video, being like, and I'm not sure if you saw the music video, but the whole first 5 minutes is asking, where's Chingy? He's late. Why is Chingy late? We're paying him to be here. Why isn't he here yet? And it's like, that's not good. Like, that's
No,
not a good
no.
thing to do. And whether or not Chingy signed off on it, like, that's offensive. So,
Right.
yeah,
And
and
as
disrespectful.
yeah, as an artist, I would be totally offended and go, guys, no, we can't do that. That's going
Yeah.
to hurt. It's going to hurt me in the long run because it makes
Yeah,
me
it's
look
like,
like I don't show up on time.
exactly. So it just is so strange. And Ryan did a whole 12-minute spiel on that whole thing, but it's, where he and Jelly Roll and Struggle and Yellow Wolf even, and Colt Ford specifically,
Hmm.
they're carving out a lane that Music Row doesn't know how to get over
Right.
to yet. They're kind of running parallel in different veins, but there's a lot of money to be had on the independent side that the record labels want, and they're trying to get it. And unfortunately, us hillbillies and rednecks are a little too smart to be duped. So,
Right, and they don't think that.
well,
That's the
I will
thing.
tell you what, they certainly didn't think the cowboy or any of Ryan's music. Ryan's got he's got many plaques now, and I don't know the
Right,
exact number, so I don't want to undershoot it.
right,
But there are many plaques in Ryan's room now, and they didn't expect that.
right,
And when I was working with the mainstream for a little bit, and they disowned me for working with Ryan, they certainly didn't expect it to go gold or top Billboard. So, those little things, man. And that's just the rumor mill, but it's the
right,
truth, and that's the background, or the underground, however you want to
right,
classify it. But yeah, it's been a really cool experience to kind of to sit back and say, hey, this works
right.
too. The dirt road gets you there just as quick.
Exactly. It's all to put it in kind of Colt Ford and some of those guys. I could hear Colt saying, "It's all how big your tires are."
Well, and it's almost as if, and I just kind of thought of this metaphor, but it's almost as if there's a traffic jam on the interstate and you got to take the state road, and it'll get you
Right,
there 20 minutes faster, but it worked.
right,
It might take a little, might have to take a couple side streets or get there after you thought you might have on the interstate, but there's a big old traffic jam on the interstate right now between
right.
labels and publishing and Spotify and digital and albums and all, and just there's just this whole thing going on, and we're not a part of it, which
No,
is
right.
a breath.
So now, is there a possibly another collaboration between you and Upchurch at some point? Have you guys discussed that, or are you just kind of, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but kind of riding the wave of Cowboy, so to speak, or
Well, we had just had Step On It come out on his latest album, Everlasting Country, which was awesome, and it did really well too, and it topped Billboard charts and within like the first week.
Mhm.
So we're excited about that one. But both those songs were written back in 2016,
Right,
and I really would love to. Ryan's been really busy and doing his own thing, and kind of been taking a step back because he's got so much music that he's ready to release. But our buddy Leroy Biggs and me are trying to bully Ryan onto a song that Leroy and I did together. So we're
okay.
harassing Ryan saying, hey, we want you on here. Get on here. Hey, this song's really good and it's going to do well with or without you. Like, get on here. You want to be a part of this. So you better get
Uh,
on this. So, but it's cool. And that'll be coming out hopefully by the end of the summer, mid fall. So, but we'll
awesome.
see. It's all just a text away basically. So we'll see.
Right. So this one will be Carly Rogers featuring Ryan Upchurch as opposed to Ryan featuring Carly, so to speak.
It'll actually be Leroy Biggs featuring Carly Rogers and Upchurch.
Ah, okay,
Yeah.
okay. All right.
So, but yeah, and if we ever do any more collaborations together, I usually leave that up to him, to release it, because and he's a top dog on the track, and if he doesn't feel comfortable with releasing it, then maybe it's not for me to release, or
Right.
maybe it's if he doesn't feel like it. And that's another thing too that other artists have done, where they've done collaborations with him and didn't ask him, or he told them he didn't really like it and didn't want to put it out, and they put it out anyway for the clout. So I
Right.
respect him in that regard. But yeah.
Right. Oh, that's cool. I tell you, I cannot wait to see you at Freedom Jam. Again, had to
Yes.
think about toast. Can't wait
I
to see
had
you at
toast
Freedom
today,
Jam.
actually. I had toast for breakfast.
Ah, jelly or jam?
Butter.
Just
Lots and
butter.
lots of butter. Oh yeah. So I'm not a big fruit
Right.
connoisseur. I like bananas and I like an apple here or there, but I love butter, man. A little extra butter never hurt nobody.
Right.
So
I remember growing up as a kid talking about a lot of butter. My mom would, before we went to, before we go to school, we'd have like a, wasn't the healthiest breakfast in the world, but she would do toast with a lot of butter and then she would sprinkle sugar over it. And
mhm.
I was just like, I mean, back then that was crack. I
Oh yeah.
mean, it's so
Oh
good.
yeah.
So,
No doubt about that.
yeah, it was great. But you're going to be at Freedom Jam, and let me give them a little bit of info about that. Now, you can go to the Freedom Jam Facebook page. You can find all the information there. You can get tickets there, or you can go to eventbrite.com. You can get them there as well. They've also got some merch that, again, Brian has told me once or twice, like a cutoff date, and then they've extended. So I'm not sure where the cutoff is right now on some of that stuff. But you can get, merch and portions of all of this, from the tickets to the merchandise. It all goes to Operation Triage, which is an amazing organization that I am finding out more and more about every day.
Yeah.
And I'm just blown away by what they do,
Yeah.
And so one quick question before we do go, because I've asked this of other artists. How did you come on board with Freedom Jam? Did Brian just reach out to you? Did you have a connection, or?
I think Brian just reached out and
Okay.
asked. And I run all my social media. I don't have a manager or anything like that. So I try to skim through at the end of every day, basically through my emails and Instagram, Facebook, stuff like that. And I try, I'm not always the best, but I always get to the bottom.
Right.
And at some point, and I'm pretty sure that's how it went, but you'd have to ask Brian for verification. But it definitely was not we knew each other beforehand. It was
Okay.
a social media outreach. And I work with I work with lots of veteran organizations throughout the year and do different benefit shows and stuff like that. I'm also a VFW lifetime auxiliary member.
Oh, okay.
My family's been very active in military, and so I was absolutely honored, and I can never turn down a good organization reaching out.
Right.
So and what they do is good. They're not backwards, which is incredible, and they do truly help first responders and veterans and active duty. So yeah,
Right.
couldn't turn it down.
That's awesome. It's going to be a great show. I think there's 15 artists,
There's a
somewhere
lot.
around in there on the bill. I mean, so many, and they're all so good. I mean, that's the thing that just blows my mind. And I'm not bad. I mean, I'm not trying to, bash anybody or anything, but I think Brian did a great job with the lineup of finding such quality artists to come on board
For sure.
with that,
For sure. And it's easy for one or two to sneak through the cracks too, to be somebody that's not necessarily up to par with the rest.
Right.
But I think Brian did a great job in allocating and making sure that everybody was up to a certain standard. Not that there
Right.
aren't other artists that are up to the same standard or higher, but
Right.
he definitely was able to concoct a roster of artists who all deserve to be on the same stage with each other, which is cool.
Yeah. And even another awesome thing is he's already gotten several emails or artists out, reaching out for 2021. I mean,
Yeah.
he's got the lineup there. And as a matter of fact, we have talked about me being a little bit more involved with it, because it's just something that I want to be a part of. I think it's a
Yeah.
great cause. And so I'm pretty excited about seeing what next year brings.
For
And
sure.
but again, it's August 29th. It's at the Diamond Music Hall in St. Peters, Missouri. You get your tickets at eventbrite.com, or you can go into the Facebook page, and there's a link on there as well. Go check it out. Get your tickets. Carly, you're going to be there. Can't wait to see you. And meet face to face, so to speak, as opposed to camera.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
but
Practicing
thanks
safe
for coming.
distancing, but
Oh yeah. This is the
Right.
ultimate right here.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on, and can't wait to hear the new single that drops tonight.
yeah.
And so I'll listen to that, and then we'll be talking again soon.
I hope so. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having me. I really do appreciate it. And I'm excited to meet you as well.
All right, Carly, thanks a lot. Appreciate it. It's
Awesome.
Carly Rogers on b4Nashville. Again, you can find b4Nashville. We're on several platforms right now. We're on like 7 platforms. We're on Anchor. We're on Breaker. We're on Pocket Cast, iTunes, as well as working with Spotify to get on there as well. So check us out. We're all over, and check out all these artists that we talked to. So Carly, have a great night, and we'll be talking to you soon.
You as well. Thank you so much. I appreciate it again.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.